How's it going, you guys? And welcome. Good morning, Cup. I will start today off with a devastating story about the assassination of Jamal Khashoggi. In the year 2018, on October the 2nd, Jamal Khashoggi was lured into a Saudi consulate in Turkey, in Istanbul to be precise, and he never stepped out. You see, Jamal Khashoggi was assassinated inside of the Saudi consulate by what appears to be RIF members, Saudi Royal Guard, if you will. And since then, there was an investigation that was underway, an investigation that took upwards of 3 years to finally complete. And the United States has finally put out a statement regarding its investigation, dictating the fact that the royal prince, the crown prince of Saudi Arabia himself, Mohammed bin Salman, officially gave way to the assassination attempt. He put out a statement to the RIF stating that Jamal Khashoggi should either be captured or killed. And considering that this was beyond his own soil, this was on international grounds, it sparked outcry from journalists across the spectrum. You see, Jamal Khashoggi was not just a Saudi expat. He was also a journalist that wrote for the Washington Post as well as a United States resident, thereby sparking all the more international concern from the journalism associations worldwide. International efforts and international sanctions were made throughout the spectrum, dictating the fact that Saudi Arabia and whoever was responsible back then should be held accountable. What we saw over the years was new developing stories about how it actually happened, how Jamal Khashoggi was dismembered inside of the embassy, and how his body's remains are still not found to this day. What we also understand is the fact that now, finally, upon the conclusion of this report, the United States has, however, slapped international sanctions on Saudi Arabia, but it fell short of sanctioning Mohammed bin Salman himself. What we understand is the fact that numerous people, upwards of 75 to be precise, have been, well, banned from ever entering the United States. Visa sanctions on numerous citizens have also been implemented in Saudi Arabia itself, as well as any and all ties to the RIF and any American dealings with the RIF have been completely banned by the United States. But on an international scale, what people are dictating is the fact that you need to take more concrete steps. You need to take steps that are more sustained. You need to take steps that are much more concrete in terms of what actually holds grounds, in terms of setting an example, setting a precedent, if you will. You see, any and all kingdoms that are still, well, just that, kingdoms that adhere to the rules of one individual or one royal family, if you will, are always going to, well, go and exploit their powers, go and violate international laws left, right, and center, because they know that money plays all power. And even the United States knows that for a fact, that it did not go out of its way to slap even more sanctions on the royal family itself because of, well, the ties that it has in the Middle East with Saudi Arabia. It did not want to lose any and all relationships that it had cultivated over the years with Saudi Arabia. It just brings in more shock value than anything else, considering that the life lost of one international journalist was nothing in comparison to what the United States claimed it had gained over the years with the Saudi relationship that it has cultivated. Also, what we understand is the fact that a life that is just lost and compromised, and, well, it's always going to hold international accord when people have to make statements about human rights. You see, the United States did impose bans, did impose sanctions, but was that enough? Well, according to certain members on the international scale, of course it wasn't. Because a move like this just remarks the fact that Saudis, or anyone else for that matter of fact, with the right means and the right assets, could do something similar. And nothing would be done against them because, well, one person's life means nothing when it comes to an international scale. Which is just devastating for certain human rights organizations, especially with the United Nations human rights organizations. Because it just goes to show that anyone with the right amount of paychecks and the right amount of zeros in their bank account could do whatever they want with no international outcry, with no international repercussions, if you will. What we also understand is the fact that the RIF, the Rapid Intervention Force of the Saudi-led regime, is held responsible and is targeted as to have 5 members of its force to be affiliated with the entire assassination attempt. They flew down on a Saudi royals plane. They flew out on a Saudi royals plane, and they were in Turkey for a total span of upwards of only 12 hours. That means that the only reason that they went there was to assassinate Jamal Khashoggi, and then they left the nation without having to fear that they were being held accountable for whatever they had done. Now, Saudi Arabia has said that, yeah, they've caught 5 people related to the assassination. Riyadh finally accepted the fact that there was a rogue movement and there was a rogue attack that took place when it came to the assassination of Jamal Khashoggi, and the people that were involved have been jailed. But it also put out a statement dictating the fact that Jamal Khashoggi's family had, well, forgiven them. And because of that, they were not given the death penalty and instead were given 20 years in prison that could well be jotted down to lesser time as this issue dies down, if you will. We understand the fact that international pressure means nothing. But the Saudi government's pressure on people that might have extended families still living in Saudi Arabia, considering that Jamal Khashoggi was Saudi, and international efforts could mean nothing for them, considering that if their families' lives are at threat, that if the family's assets are at threat, of course the family is going to go out of its way to forgive them so that the government can clear its name and let these people just live in peace. They've already lost a family member. The last thing they need is the rest of the family collapsing in on itself because of holding out for justice and liberty. Of course, it wasn't served to them at all. What we also understand is the fact that this blatant misuse of power, this blatant violation of international human rights, is not a standalone issue. It's happened time and time again with numerous kingdoms, with numerous dictatorships. And it's just sad to witness something like this in the year 2021. We also move on to the fact that a devastating story has developed in Nigeria. In the Zamfara district in Nigeria, we understand that 300 schoolgirls were kidnapped from their hostel. They were living in boarding schools and getting their education that was so near and dear to them. But ever since the Chimbuk incident, wherein 274 schoolgirls were kidnapped by Boko Haram, there have been numerous such incidences time and time again, wherein in Nigeria, armed gunmen just encroach, kidnap people, and want ransoms for their release. President Buhari has openly put out a statement dictating that this is inhumane and completely unacceptable, but also that if he does send armed forces behind these gunmen, the school children could be used as human shields or just be assassinated as a blatant statement to them that do not send any forces to rescue these people as they are no longer alive. What we also understand is that this is a developing story and we don't know what the next approach on this might be, whether these school children can get the liberty and the freedom that they deserve as kids, whether getting an education in Nigeria has gotten to the point wherein you cannot guarantee your students' safety in schools, even though there have been numerous school safety initiatives in place in Nigeria, or an international outcry the likes of the Chimbuk incident is required every single time to bring in the right amount of attention to this issue. The last time something like this happened in Chimbuk, we understood that Michelle Obama got involved. But are we supposed to wait for some figureheads that are so prevalent across the globe for something like this to finally die down, for the Nigerian authorities to finally step in and do what's needful to ensure the safety of its students? You see, the students are the future of the nation. Everyone knows that for a fact. And if the Nigerian students themselves are not safe, how can the future of the country be safe? We saw 44 male students kidnapped in a similar way in the past 6 months in the neighboring district in Nigeria itself. We also saw that in this very incident itself, upwards of 451 students were residing in the compound, and only 55 have been accounted for so far. So upwards of 300, not just 300. And what happens to them, no one knows. The story openly dictates the fact that gunmen marched into the school in the early hours in the morning, went to the hostels and told the students that it's time for their prayers. They all gathered on the outside, and once all the students were gathered on the grounds, they started openly firing in the air, scaring everyone to near death, and then marching them into the nearby forests, while continuing to shoot in the air to dictate the fact that if anyone tried to escape, they would be shot in the back. Students have been abducted left, right, and center in Nigeria. Parents and concerned authorities reached the spot but a little too late. Certain parents went out of their way to run into the forest to try and find them. Whether their safety is a given or whether they'll even make it back is anyone's guess, considering that armed gunmen in Nigeria are not going to, well, succumb to 2 or 3 parents trying to get their kids back. But our parents' mentality in a point like this, and of course, the parents' sheer fear for their kids' lives is a given. Our hearts go out to any and all affected by this, and we hope and pray that every single student that was abducted gets returned and every single student is safe and sound. That no one loses their life over this, because this is a human rights violation, the likes of which we cannot comprehend. UNICEF has openly put out a statement that this is just hurtful. and aches the heart of the international community towards the safety of school going children who deserve an education without having to fear for their lives. This has been your morning cup. I'll see you tomorrow.